Hello, everybody. What do you say, gang? It is the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus. Please do subscribe, like, share. And if you've already subscribed, hit the notification bell so you'll know when we're on. If you're a regular viewer, you know that either Monday or Tuesday is In Case You Missed It. That's what we normally do, look back and highlight things that might have been missed over the past few days. So in case you missed it, the forces of Russia have not invaded the Ukraine, thankfully. Ukraine still prepared for the invasion, and found this a little bit odd. Bloomberg says U.S. warns Russian invasion in Ukraine could happen any time. And then Putin signals U.S. NATO talks to continue on Ukraine. So I guess two things can be true at the same time. They can be talking about a potential negotiated settlement of whatever the dispute may be, but an invasion could also happen at any time. So it hasn't happened yet, in case you missed it, and we're happy about that. In case you missed it, there's going to be another storm impacting somewhere around the central to southern part of middle America, coming up on Wednesday into Thursday and possibly Friday, depending on how strong everything is. And we will keep an eye on that as the week moves forward. Of course, the last a couple of weeks ago, we had the storm of the century that didn't amount to really the storm of the century. And that's often the case with weather people. But there is potentially another storm coming in and could have some damaging winds. And we'll look at that as as I said, as the week unfolds. In some spoos. Spoos is a word that I invented, combining sports and news. Again, I've got to get a hold of one of the dictionary companies to make sure that it gets added officially to the language and I get credit for it. Adrian Peterson, former professional football player now, I'm guessing. He's currently active. He played for the Titans, and I think he played for Seattle this year and the Washington football team before they became the Commanders, I think. Anyway, he was in Los Angeles for a pregame show and was flying back to Houston for a Super Bowl party. He and his wife got in a fight on a plane. Plane turned around, went back to the gate. Peterson was arrested and taken into custody, and basically says it's all blown out of proportion, that he and his wife got in an argument, but there was no battery, nothing like that. So that leads us into what's going on at the moment. Trump lawyer withholds 11,000 emails from the January 6th committee. Do you remember when there was so much made about Hillary Clinton's emails? This is 4 or 5 years ago. Maybe you don't remember it, but there was a 2-year congressional investigation and literally tens upon tens upon tens of millions of dollars spent looking at her emails. And now we learn Trump's lawyer willfully withheld 11,000 emails. Just something to think about. That's what we do on this show. So another thing to think about, if you like guacamole, if you like avocado ice cream, which Tom Brady swears by to keep him young, the U.S. is suspending avocado imports from Mexico after a threat to the U.S. inspector. And the Super Bowl is still one of the top stories on CNN at the moment. So that gets us into to our Real True segment here. And it's about the Super Bowl. Did the NFL, and this is a question, this is not me saying it happened, but this is an observation. Did the NFL further the divides in America with the Super Bowl. Now, a long time ago, there's no record of it, thankfully. This is before cell phones. This is before viral videos. This is before TikTok, Snapchat, whatever. I used to have Super Bowl parties, and they were pretty big events. And it was about bringing people together and having a great time and enjoying the game. If your team was in it, if your team wasn't in it, you still came to the Super Bowl party, or even if you didn't have a team. Okay. The past couple of years, of course, with COVID, things changed. And I watch football different than most people. And I've been told that I'm no fun to watch a football game with. And I've said, watching football games with certain people ruin it for me. So I watch by myself so that I don't ruin it for anybody else. Nobody else ruins it for me. That's quite a contrast from having mega parties. And I watched the game and I enjoyed the game. And I watched halftime and I enjoyed halftime. And I watched the second half of the game. And that's where, with 2 minutes to go in the game, that's where my personal problem with the game came into focus. However, it doesn't seem to be anywhere near what the main focus of the game actually turned out to be. So what we're going to do, I want to look at two different perspectives coming from this game. First thing we're going to look at is a perspective of a black conservative perspective. This is Greg Foreman. Okay, here's a little bit of his take on the Super Bowl yesterday.
There's going to be some controversy, and after last night's Super Bowl, lo and behold, there is some controversy to talk about, or some manufactured controversy that really is a distraction from the real issue of the Super Bowl that needs to be discussed, which was the fact that you had 70,000 people packed into a stadium in a lockdown city of Los Angeles. Most of them, a vast majority of them, including the celebrities and Hollywood types, not wearing masks. Okay, despite demonizing other parts of the country who don't have mask mandates, they don't even follow their mask mandates, and the fact that there was looting and rioting after the game. Oh shit. But we're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about it as mainstream media. Okay.
Wasn't aware of any of that. As I said, I watched the first half of the game. I watched the halftime show. I watched the second half of the game. My issues came with 2 minutes to go in the game. We'll talk about that coming up, but let's get back to the black conservative perspective.
It is really highlighting the Super Bowl halftime show. Right now, this year's halftime show featured basically more, I guess, West Coast rap theme because it's in LA. Now, it's hilarious, in my opinion, seeing the reactions to the halftime show. Some people loved it, right? Apparently, Candace Owens loved it. And some people didn't love it so much. Apparently, people like Charlie Kirk didn't like it too much, okay? And, hey, it is what it is, man. Rap is not everybody's cup of tea, just like country is not everybody's cup of tea, okay? So I think regardless of who performs at the halftime show, people are going to have issues with it, or people are going to absolutely love it and think it's the best thing ever.
That is a great point. No matter who you have for a halftime show, there are going to be those that absolutely love it, and there are going to be those that are to put it mildly, not in favor of it. And going back to Miami, the Miami Super Bowl was the halftime was filled with Latin music, and it reflected the culture, and it reflected the surroundings of the stadium and the community where the stadium was built, and the community that was holding the Super Bowl. That particular music, I thought the music was great. I thought the music was great last night. I thought it reflected the community of Los Angeles, what I know of the culture there. And that's just my personal thought. I'm not telling you what to think or how to think. If you hated it, you hated it. You know, I enjoy good music. I don't care what genre it is. All right. If it's good, it's good. And I didn't notice all the things that others noticed.
It is what it is. But again, the real controversy here of the halftime show seems to be Eminem deciding to take a knee during the halftime show. Okay. Now, I did watch the Super Bowl. Okay.
I did watch the Super Bowl too. I saw him take a knee. I saw him put his hand upon his head. At first, I thought when he took a knee and started to put his hand up, I thought he was going to Tebow. Then I thought nothing else about it. I didn't put it with kneeling. I just didn't. I thought he was ending the song, and Dre was moving from one scene into the next scene, and it was part of the choreography. I thought it was part of the show, part of the scene for him to move. But shortly after the game, I got emails. I got a couple of emails saying hip hop's never going to be part of the NFL again, because Snoop wanted to wear a blue bandana in the back of his jeans and was told no. So instead he created an outfit out of blue bandana. I didn't notice that while watching it. Dr. Dre was told not to do specific lyrics because of being anti-police, and did them anyway. And then the kneeling by Eminem. Okay, he was told not to kneel. He said he was going to kneel. He was told not to kneel. And I'm kind of with this guy. I think, because again, all this came right after the game, and I was still into that final 2 minutes of the game, and it was almost like it's going to be manufactured. Okay. It's going to be manufactured to create even more division. And let's listen some more.
One of the reasons why I watched it, even though I have not watched much NFL football over the past 2 years for various reasons, is because the Super Bowl, at the very least, it used to be a time where you could gather around with family and friends and, eat and, hang out and just watch a good football game. Okay. It still is that. Okay. For the most part. So, even though I haven't watched much NFL football this year, I do think taking the time to watch the Super Bowl is more about spending time with friends and family than the actual game itself. Okay. So, it is what it is. I thought it was a good game. That's all I wanted to see. But what really been played up here is Eminem taking a knee, okay, and some of the things going on behind the scenes with the NFL in this halftime show. So let's read here. Eminem kneeled on stage during his Super Bowl 2022 halftime show performance, despite apparent objections from the NFL to the act that has been used as a form of protest against police brutality and racial inequality. According to a report from Puck, the rapper was at odds with the NFL over kneeling Colin Kaepernick style during a star-studded halftime show that also featured Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Kendrick Lamar, and 50 Cent. Now, well, first of all, when I first saw Eminem kneeling, I had no idea why he was doing it, right? I thought that it might have been a part of the actual show. I had no clue, okay, why he was actually doing it. Until, you get on social media and people are speculating about, okay, is he doing it for Kaepernick, right? Or was he doing it for something else? Okay, some people say, again, it was a part of the performance. Some people say he was doing it as a tribute to Tupac, okay? That's what people are saying. Those are the theories out there.
That's a new one to me. I had not heard he was doing it as a tribute to Tupac.
Me personally, I really don't know. Okay. So with that being said, if he was doing it for Kaepernick, basically it would be him like kind of repeating Colin Kaepernick's protest, right? Doing the national anthem that has basically caused a whole lot of division in this country because it's disrespectful. But considering how this wasn't doing the national anthem and it was doing a performance, I literally had no clue why Eminem was doing it, at least in the moment, okay? But NFL reps denied the league had any differences with Eminem before his performance. In a statement to the Post, the rep said that players have been taking knees since 2016 without sanctions, so musical talent wouldn't be held to a different standard. Yeah, I mean, I think that the NFL definitely knew the dude was going to kneel, and the NFL has no issues with Eminem kneeling because the NFL is woke, right? Just like Eminem, right? So they don't care about him kneeling. They probably encouraged him to kneel. Okay, maybe they did. Who knows? Okay. League officials also knew going into Sunday that the rapper would take a knee because officials watched it during rehearsals this week, as NFL spokesman told the New York Times. A report from Puck says league organizers also flagged something that Snoop Dogg was set to wear as possibly appearing gang related. Oh, really? They flagged that? Because, I mean...
Now, see, I saw this. I didn't think blue bandana. I just didn't.
The halftime show, a majority of it seemed to be gang related, right? They out there crip walking in front of America, right? Again, so much for promoting nonviolence and stuff like that. I'm just saying, Dr. Dre.
Again, we're just giving you a different perspective. It's obviously a different perspective than I had watching the game, with a few exceptions.
They had a lot of back and forth aggravations in planning his set, according to the report. The report cites a close source to Dr. Dre as saying the rapper felt disgustingly censored. Beyond not wanting to curse, the league was said to have been uncomfortable with lyrics and still Dre, quote, still not loving police because it did not want this performance to be a divisive culture war moment. Yeah, I mean, it was going to be that regardless, no matter what you did.
See, that I have a problem with that. It shouldn't have been, in my opinion. I think it's being contrived. But
again, this is what the media is playing up as a controversy here. Okay, Eminem kneeling, and in my opinion, here's the thing: if he kneeled during the national anthem, I think that would be a controversy. But I'm not one of these people that wants to ban kneeling, right? If he wants to kneel during a halftime show, hey, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and get bent out of shape about it because, again, it's not doing the national anthem. So it is what it is, right? It is what it is, regardless of why he's doing it, okay? But my gut feeling, guys, is that they're playing up the whole controversy with kneeling to distract from the actual real problem with the Super Bowl, the real controversy. The controversy with the Super Bowl is the fact that they had 70,000 fans packed in an indoor stadium in Los Angeles, one of the most locked down cities in the country, with these mandates, right? Mandates that still apply to school children, right?
He's got a great point.
Right? Mandates that have gotten people fined and arrested for not following. You have this event, again, an indoor event, right? Where you have 70-some thousand fans gathered in. It didn't look like any one of them were wearing a mask, especially the elitists at the event. They definitely weren't wearing masks because they never wear masks at their events. But the help that's following them around and, serving them, they're always wearing masks, okay? Because they're the unpure, right? They're the unpure. So, yeah, because of that, right, because of their refusal to follow their own mandate, right, and the things they've said about people who don't follow the mandate, this has been dubbed the Super Spreader Bowl, right? The Super Spreader Bowl. And I hope people like Fauci agree with this. I hope he comes out here and tells us how irresponsible it was for all these people not to be wearing masks.
Again, the question is asked, did the NFL knowingly or unknowingly deepen the divide, not only racially, but with COVID-19, with mandates, with restrictions, with the hypocrisy of talking about safety while allowing 70,000 people. And even though they have to provide proof of vaccination, it doesn't mean that people that are vaccinated can still get COVID. Let's just put it simply. Now, here's another take. And this is from someone that does what's called black and white sports.
Black and white sports on YouTube. The no holds barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rodriguez for Black and White Sports. Well, that didn't take long by the cur dogs known as the NFL to come out and say, oh, no, nothing to see here. We were perfectly fine with Eminem kneeling during the NFL halftime show. Reports came out very quickly afterwards that the NFL was mad as hell that Eminem decided to kneel on behalf of Colin Kaepernick and on the behalf of the false narrative of police brutality.
Okay, that's what I was told immediately after it happened, that the NFL was all upset with this. That, but again, we go back and look at what we heard in the last report. It said the NFL was fine with it. They saw it all through the rehearsals, and they didn't have a problem with it. The last response was that's because the NFL is woke. That's because Eminem is woke. Woke being a derogatory connotation that white supremacists and white privileged put upon people that feel like there ought to be equality and justice in the world, and not an imbalance
Against blacks. And of course, let's be honest, there's other steps to this: shilling communism. I mean, you name it. The list of anti-American rhetoric goes on and on and on when it comes to kneeling.
I thought you were going to talk about the game.
Disrespecting the military.
Kneeling is not disrespecting the military. The reason they kneel, and see, this is what happens. The actual truth gets turned into a narrative. The actual truth gets to the point where you can't talk about it anymore. You can't talk about a critical race theory teaching that slavery actually existed, what slavery truly was. Just like you can't talk about how the colonization of the western part of America came about by the slaughter of thousands upon millions of Native Americans, and that's what's coming right here. We're not going to, 50 years from now, we're not going to be able to talk about what's happening right here. And the
NFL got scared. Why? Because the wokes on Twitter started getting out of hand.
Again, here we go with the wokes.
And so the clown, known as Roger Goodell, and the NFL bent the knee, both knees, at record speed. I mean, I literally just put out a video about the fact that they were mad. Oh,
okay. And why was there such a rush for so many conservatives to jump upon this? They blame mainstream media, but let's go back and look at mainstream media. Actually, CNN doesn't have any mention of the halftime show in the top part of their fold. Dr. Gupta examines lessons the U.S. can learn from NFL on COVID. That's the way they handled their maskless celebrities at Super Bowl spark upset. But as far as the mainstream media, here's where your fabrications start. It starts with conservatives like that saying things that simply aren't true. Let's see if any mainstream media is on here talking about the controversy at halftime. No, Good Morning America actually said that it was one of the best halftime shows they ever saw. I don't know if I would personally say that. But nonetheless, this is how things happen. Guys like this guy in the red shirt create something that gets passed to others and eventually becomes true. Biden's giving out 300,000 crack pipes to black people. That was last week. And oh my God, blah, 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 blah. Stop and think a little bit, people. Just stop and think. Before you regurgitate something stupid, think. Because all it does is make you less credible. Okay? Let's see what this guy has to say, black and white. I think this guy's certainly coming under false pretenses.
Oh, but no, nothing to see here. Fox News. NFL was aware Eminem was going to kneel during halftime.
You missed the first part of that. He says Fox News. Okay, so if Fox News is aware, the NFL was aware. Anyway.
Performance rep says the NFL was, quote, aware that rapper Eminem was going to kneel during the Super Bowl.
Okay, this is the same thing. This is the same thing we already heard. Let's see if this guy has anything different to say.
NFL, after Kaepernick began using a form of protest against police brutality and racial injustice, the former...
There we go. Colin Kaepernick, this is on Fox. Colin Kaepernick knelt as a form of protest against police brutality and racial injustice. And guys like this clown and Donald Trump, the clown that was the former president of the United States, turned it into being anti-American, anti-flag, anti-military, when it wasn't. It was just about being treated equally, being treated justly, being treated fairly. And the whole country saw that with the George Floyd incident, that this is what's really happening. And within days, that too was twisted and turned and used to continue to divide us. We're going to stop there. It's the American Doofus Show, in case you missed it. Don't be a doofus. We'll be on Thursday night with the People's Platform. We'll be on live 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And between now and then, if you want to know when an episode's popping up, make sure you hit the bell. Subscribe if you haven't already. And if you are a subscriber, hit the bell. It's a dark world. They're using the Super Bowl as some kind of divisive thing. And I want to end it on this. The thing that concerned me the most about the Super Bowl was, my gosh, are those people right? Is it really rigged? Because you play the entire game and you have no penalties. Four penalties in the entire game, and four very obvious and blatant things that they could not avoid. And then when the Rams have to score, when the big city has to win, when the investments have to pay off, we have to make sure that the big city wins and the big city gets the payoff. Is it all about money? Is it sports entertainment? Is it not competitive sports? Is it scripted? Because when it got down to the final 2 minutes, there was a very good defensive play by the Bengals that would have stopped the Rams, and there was a penalty called. And shortly after that, another penalty, and then another penalty, and then the Rams had the ball with four tries to move it 1 yard to basically take the lead and potentially seal the game, which is what they did. I hope it's not. I hope it's not scripted. I hope we don't learn that we've been duped, but we've been duped before. It's the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus. I love y'all. Thank you all for watching so very much. It is a dark world. Do try to be positive. Do try to be a light. Try to show light upon darkness. Try to speak truth to the untrue, and try to stay alive. I love y'all. Wish you nothing but peace. Namaste. Shalom, salam, blessings. If you'd like to contact me at americandufus or americandufus@gmail.com, like to help support the show, at americandufus on the Cashapp. I got 3 books out, more coming, and the description for the latest novels in the link to the latest novels in the description below. And I want to thank y'all. I love y'all. See you next time. It's the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus.